On a bright sunny day, Mansu and his family are having a wonderful lunch thanks to the expensive meat sent by the papermaking company he works for as a reward for being a great employee for 25 years. Mansu's neurodivergent daughter Rione plays the cello while his wife Mi opens the very expensive gift he bought her. Mansu is so happy with his life that he brings the family into a tight hug. The next day at the factory, Mansu learns that the company has been bought by Americans, who will cut 20% of the production line and want a list of names to fire. Mansu approaches the new owner to try to convince him not to fire anyone, but the man ignores him. A co-worker asks Mansu if he was sent expensive food, revealing that only the fired employees received that gift as a passive-aggressive goodbye. That means Mansu is unemployed now. Without telling his family yet, Mansu decides to join a support group for unemployed people. The host puts everyone through a ritual in which they touch their faces while repeating that losing their jobs isn't their fault and that their families will support them. This gives Mansu enough strength to call Mi and tell her what happened, but he promises he'll be employed again in just 3 months. 13 months later, Mansu is working in retail with a very small salary and bad hours. He also has a very annoying toothache, but he refuses to spend money on the dentist. One day, a friend gets him an interview at an important company, so Mansu asks his manager if he can leave earlier. This gets him fired, and since he has to give back his uniform, he ends up on the street in his underwear. Mansu's friend warns him that during the interview, the company always asks people what their weak point is, which is a very sensitive issue. He calls Mi for ideas on how to answer, but she only says that he loves plants too much. When Mi checks the mail, she discovers they're behind on the mortgage payments. In the afternoon, Mansu goes to the interview and stays nervous the entire time. When he's asked about his weak point, he says he isn't able to say no to anything. This causes him to fail the interview. That night, Mi announces that she got a job at a dental clinic. She's also made a list of all the extra activities that the family will have to stop doing until Mansu gets a job, although Rione is allowed to keep her cello classes. She wants to trade their cars for smaller, cheaper models and sell the house so they can pay for their loans and rent an apartment. Mansu hates the idea and reminds her that this is his childhood home, which he worked very hard on to repair. However, Rione points out that Mansu's severance money has run dry and shows him a letter from the bank, which says they'll lose the house in 3 months if they don't pay. In the morning, Mi's parents take the family dogs and Mi tells the kids they'll get them back when Mansu finds a job. Afterward, a potential buyer named No arrives to check out the house and Mansu is extremely uncomfortable, so he leaves. Outside he finds his son Sion hanging out with his best friend Jian-ho, who happens to be No's son. Rione is crying over the dogs and Mansu promises her that they won't abandon the house. After another failed interview, Mansu ends up begging on his knees and sharing his situation in tears while blocking the bathroom door to keep the boss listening to him. Manager Sion Chol pushes Mansu so his boss can leave, then he tells him to have more dignity and gives him some money for a drink. At the bar, Mansu drinks whiskey while watching Sion Chol's videos, learning that he's a very successful influencer. At that moment he gets a video call from Mi, who scolds him for being at the bar and informs him that Rione's cello teacher wants to talk to them. The couple has a meeting with the teacher, who informs them she can't teach Rione anymore because she's a prodigy and needs advanced classes from a more expensive tutor. That night Mansu and Mi watch the videos that Sion Chol made for his company. Mi points out that Sion Chol's job would be perfect for Mansu and jokingly says that Sion Chol should be hit by lightning, which gives Mansu an idea. The next day, Mansu stalks Sion Chol around town. When Sion Chol suddenly stops walking to take a call, Mansu almost gets caught and quickly rushes upstairs to hide. He stands on top of a building to look at Sion Chol and lifts a plant pot, which he holds above Sion Chol for a few seconds. He then puts it down only to grab a bigger one. When he's about to drop it, the pot owner catches him red-handed and Mansu has to put it down. While buying the plant from the lady, Mansu realizes that even if Sion Chol disappears, he can't be sure he'll get the job because there will be lots of competition. In the afternoon, Mansu returns home with a toy gun and a burner phone because he has a plan. He starts by calling a papermaking magazine to put up an ad. The next day, Balm Mo is irritating his wife A-Ra. Since he lost his job, he's been spending all his time drinking and avoiding the shower. After A-Ra leaves for an audition, Balm Mo reads the papermaking magazine and finds Mansu's fake job ad, which asks for people with advanced knowledge in the industry. This inspires Balm Mo to finally leave the couch and take a shower before writing an application letter detailing all his experience. Soon Mansu receives hundreds of resumes asking for the fake job. He reads them all and compares them to his own until there are only 2 men left who could beat him at a job interview, Balm Mo and Shijo. After burning all the other letters, Mansu takes his father's Vietnam War gun from the memorial and replaces it with the toy gun. The next day, Mansu starts spying on Balm Mo. He finds a nice spot among the trees and watches the house with his binoculars. Unfortunately, he discovers that the house has a security camera. Suddenly A-Ra's young lover sneaks out through the window and Balm Mo studies how the guy avoids the camera. When the young man starts walking toward the woods, Mansu panics and runs back to his car. The following day, Mansu returns to the same spot and Balm Mo almost sees him while he's looking for mushrooms. Mansu hides just in time and pulls out his gun, but he's too nervous to shoot. At that moment A-Ra joins her husband and they have a picnic. Balm Mo ignores his wife's chatter and keeps checking his phone, waiting for a message from the fake paper company. This causes A-Ra to snap, scolding her husband for not taking the cafe job her father offered him because he only wants to work with paper. Bom Mo reminds her that his industry kept her fed for years and wonders if a paper industry would send physical mail, so he runs back to the house to check the mailbox while A-Ra keeps throwing food at him. Suddenly Monsu rolls down the hill and is seen by A-Ra. He's been bitten by a snake, so when A-Ra notices the wound, she wraps his tie around his leg and asks him to keep it raised. Then she heats a knife with a lighter and cuts the wound before she starts sucking out the poison. Monsu is weirded out and tries to push her off, but A-Ra insists she did this on a play once and keeps sucking. At that moment Monsu gets a call from Miri, so he tells her that he'll call her later. When A-Ra is done, she gives him a stick to keep the snakes at bay. That night, Monsu searches for information about the snake on the internet and discovers that A-Ra gave him the opposite instructions. Doctors recommend leaving the leg down and not cutting or sucking the wound. Afterward he and Miri start dancing while talking about the old days. However Miri interrupts their fun to discuss Sion. It turns out he's Miri's son from a previous boyfriend, but Monsu married Miri when the boy was 2, so he always thought that Monsu was his real dad. Miri wonders if they should tell him the truth, but Monsu refuses because he's raised the kid, so he's pretty much his real father anyway. Then Monsu claims he's been out of the house a lot to go to job interviews, and Miri says he should accept a job that isn't related to the paper industry. Like Bom Mo, Monsu reminds her what the paper industry has done for them and how important it is to keep it alive in the digital era. The next day, Monsu sneaks inside the house by avoiding the camera like the young man did. He quickly goes upstairs and hears A-Ra getting busy with her lover, but Bom Mo isn't around, so he has to leave. While driving down the road, Monsu sees Bom Mo going home, so he immediately turns the car around to follow him. Outside the house, Monsu uses the burner phone to call Bom Mo and tells him they want to interview him, but he must go to the office right now because the company owner has to leave on an important business trip. Bom Mo agrees, but still goes inside to change into nicer clothes. This causes him to discover his wife's affair, so he quickly comes out again and has a breakdown on the ground. Then Bom Mo tries to call the company to reschedule the interview, but Monsu has been watching him and doesn't answer the phone. A depressed Bom Mo leaves to have a drink with a friend. Afterward Monsu picks up Miri, who finds the fast food bag on the passenger's seat and disapproves of her husband's spending. Miri's boss Jin-ho has heard that he has a toothache, so he tells him he can come by any time to take care of it. Since Jin-ho is young and charming, Monsu gets jealous and irritated, so he drives off very clumsily and tells Miri to never mention him to her boss again. Later Monsu returns to Bom Mo's home with the gun hidden inside a kitchen mitten. He finds the guy listening to sad music, and when he points his hand at him, Bom Mo assumes he's A-Ra's lover. While Monsu takes off several gloves to reveal the gun, A-Ra comes home and sees him, so she grabs Bom Mo's company award and gets ready to hit him. However, she freezes when she hears Bom Mo say that she only loves him. Monsu snaps and starts yelling at Bom Mo for not paying more attention to his wife and ignoring her idea of accepting a different job. In tears, Bom Mo says he's an engineer who deserves a better position than retail and that he can't move boxes because his back hurts. A-Ra finds the excuse stupid and tries to join the argument, which startles Monsu, causing him to accidentally shoot Bom Mo in the shoulder. Then A-Ra strikes Monsu with the award, causing him to drop the gun. The three of them fall and start fighting for the weapon. While A-Ra tries to choke Monsu, Bom Mo grabs the gun and points it at them, but Monsu kicks A-Ra to knock down her husband. The gun falls again and the fight continues until A-Ra manages to grab it. Another accidental bullet is shot and Monsu immediately runs away in panic. Bom Mo chases after Monsu, but as soon as he steps outside, A-Ra shoots him. After Bom Mo dies, A-Ra goes after Monsu while firing random shots without aim. Monsu manages to get in the car and drive away. Noticing that he almost has no fuel, Monsu stops at the gas station. He has 10 missed calls from Miri, so he tries calling her back, but she won't answer. Monsu then calls his kids, who don't know where their mother is, but they heard her say your father is going to pay for this. This makes Monsu realize that he forgot about a costume party they were supposed to attend. Meanwhile, Miri has gone to the party with Jin-ho, who has even learned her favorite dance for her. When Monsu finally arrives, he's devastated to watch his wife dance with another man. He awkwardly dances toward them and Miri sees him, but she ignores him until he leaves. Afterward, Monsu returns to Bom Mo's house. While A-Ra is busy with her lover, Monsu buries the body and takes back the gun. Later that night, Miri comes home to discover that Monsu has gone through her drawers to check what underwear she wore, and he accuses her of sleeping with Jin-ho. He tackles her to try to smell her panties, so Miri kicks him off. She realizes he's been drinking and scolds him, revealing he used to be an addict and had been clean for 9 years. During his drunk days, Monsu beats Sion. Miri throws her panties at Monsu's face and yells at her for not trusting her. Monsu tries to say they need to stick together while they go through these hard times, but Miri points out that he's been very secretive lately and she's noticed all the miles he's driven in the new car. She accuses him of cheating on her, but Monsu sticks to his job interview story and walks away, accidentally hitting his face on his way out. The next day Monsu starts stalking Shijo, who is working at a shoe store to provide for his daughter until he can find a better job. When the daughter visits the store to ask Shijo for money, a client gets tired of waiting and leaves without buying anything. Shijo clearly works very hard and Monsu feels bad about his plan. When Shijo sees him and thinks he's a customer, Monsu feels so guilty that he says he needs shoes for her daughter. The men end up talking about their love for paper, the feeling of being unemployed, and the hardships of raising a difficult daughter. Monsu tells him that he wants Rione to try the shoes before buying them and promises to come back later. In the evening, Monsu is waiting by the road while pretending that his car broke down. When Shijo drives by, he stops to help. Monsu tells him he didn't go back for the shoes because towing the car will be expensive and he doesn't have much money. All this is part of his plan since he read on Shijo's resume that he has some experience as a machine repairman. While Shijo checks the engine, Monsu pulls out his gun and points it at him while covering the man's face to feel less guilty. Shijo pushes him and tries to run away, but Monsu quickly shoots him to kill him. After hiding the body in his trunk, Monsu takes the ashcam from Shijo's car and leaves, unaware that he left the bullet case on the ground. As it starts raining in town, Sion sneaks out of the house and meets with Jian-ho, who knows the lock password to his father's store. The boys break in and steal some phones, planning to resell them to earn some cash. Unfortunately, the police chase after them when they escape on their bicycles, so the guys split as a distraction. The police car ends up going after Jian-ho, so Sion goes home safely. When Monsu arrives, he sees Sion's bicycle covered in mud. He just moves it and starts digging a hole, but he's too tired and ends up falling asleep without burying the body. The next morning the police arrive and arrest Sion. Monsu notices that Shijo's clothes are peeking out of the trunk, so he hurries to stand next to the car to cover it. Now the family has to drive to the police station with the body still in the trunk. At the station, Monsu advises Sion to claim that Jian-ho pushed him into committing the crime and gives him a speech about protecting the family. He ignores Sion when the boy tries to say he was the one who came up with the robbery idea. In the meantime, Miri goes to the bathroom to take off her bra. Then she talks to One-no to try to convince him not to press charges, keeping him distracted thanks to her chest sticking out in her sweater. Soon Monsu also joins the conversation and Miri is disappointed to see he's smoking again. Monsu talked to the cops, so he reveals that Jian-ho only turned off half of the security cameras and there's footage of One-no taking lovers to the store. If the charges aren't dropped, his wife will find out about the affairs. One-no's father is furious and almost hits Monsu, but Miri stops him. Monsu tells One-no that he won't sell the house to him and the couple leaves. Later in Sion's room, Monsu finds all the stolen phones and some cigarettes. He passes the phones to Miri but hides the cigarettes in his pocket. The couple then buries the phones in the hole Monsu dug earlier, which Miri thinks was for a plant. When Sion is released without charges, Monsu gives him back the cigarettes so he can be the cool dad. That night, Monsu covers the walls in his greenhouse and takes out his chainsaw, planning to chop Shijo's body. At the same time, Sion goes to the roof to smoke in secret. Since the greenhouse ceiling isn't covered, Sion ends up seeing his father dealing with the body. After lots of hesitation, Monsu doesn't dare to do the chopping, so he uses his special garden rope to tie Shijo up like a ball. Then he puts it inside a bag and buries the body in the garden, putting a new plant above it. Sometime later, two detectives come to Monsu's house because they're investigating the disappearances of Shijo and Bian-mo. These two men knew each other and were the top choices for the job at the paper company, so the cops are suspicious of the other applicants. Monsu pretends he never saw them before, but the detectives notice that Monsu talks about them as if they were dead when they only mentioned a disappearance. The detectives have also found the bullet case and mention that it comes from North Korea, which is overheard by Miri. A few nights later, Miri notices that Sion is acting strangely and intimidates him until he shares what he saw. Miri then checks the memorial and finds the toy gun. She desperately rushes to the garden and digs out the tree to find the body. Meanwhile, Sion Chul is happily driving down the road when suddenly someone appears in front of his car. He stops the vehicle just in time and discovers it's Monsu, who tells him that he's been watching his videos and become a fan. Monsu shows him a bottle and invites him to have a drink, so they go to Sion Chul's house. Then Monsu keeps filling Sion Chul's glass to get him drunk while he only pretends to drink and empties his own glass under the table. When Sion Chul starts complaining about his job, he admits that his workload is too much and wishes he could have another manager. Monsu gets excited and convinces him to talk to his bosses so they'll hire him, promising that they'll make a great team. The men keep on chatting and Monsu comments on Sion Chul's fancy house, jokingly saying that Sion Chul must be pocketing company money. This makes Sion Chul very tense and serious, so Monsu grabs his gun thinking it's over. However, Sion Chul just brings out more beer and forces Monsu to drink. The coldness of the beer makes the toothache unbearable, so Monsu gets some pliers and removes the decaying tooth. Afterward, the duo goes outside to enjoy a bonfire. Monsu uses the chance to knock Sion Chul out and buries him in the backyard, leaving the head peeking out. At that moment he gets a video call from Miri, but he only turns on the audio and claims to be in a meeting for a potential job. Miri tells him that if he needs to do something bad, she'll do it with him. Suddenly Sion Chul wakes up, so Monsu tells his wife not to worry before hanging up. Then Monsu inserts a funnel into Sion Chul's mouth and starts pushing smashed hot dogs through it. He pours alcohol into the funnel too, then he wraps plastic wrap around Sion Chul's head to asphyxiate him. After a few minutes, Monsu removes the body and fills up the hole, making sure to spread some leaves to cover the spot. Then he cleans the house and puts the body on a chair, leaving a glass and a bottle nearby to make it look like Seon Chul accidentally choked on his drink. At home, Seon is having trippy nightmares about his father doing strange things in the greenhouse. Mi-ri wakes him up and tells him that Monsu cut up a pig to fertilize the garden, so there's nothing to worry about. In the morning, Monsu gets home and tells Mi-ri that the interview went well. He shows her that he finally lost his tooth and tries to hug her, but she pulls away. Monsu hugs her anyway and asks her for just 1 minute, so she starts a countdown. However, she ends up giving up and hugs him back, crying because it's finally over. A few days later, Monsu has a very successful interview for Seon Chul's position and learns that the company is firing the rest of the employees to replace them with machines. Meanwhile, Mi-ri gets the dogs back and pays for the house. The next time the detectives visit, they tell Monsu he isn't a suspect anymore. It turns out A-Ra acted very well as the grieving widow, so she made the cops believe that Bal Mo owned an illegal gun and that he always talked badly about Shijo because they competed in the business. She even chose the right gun from a series of pictures. Now the police believe that Bal Mo killed Shijo and ran away with the gun. On his first day of work, Monsu enters an empty factory, so he celebrates his success and listens to music while keeping an eye on the machines. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.